Good afternoon.
Hi.
What is Zen?
Right. What is Zen? I guess I'll go with first with the textbook answer. Zen is derived from the word dhyana in Sanskrit, in the ancient form of practice in Buddhism. Then this form of practice, sort of as it encountered the Chinese tradition of Taoism or Taoism, got, well, in my view, it's got deepened or a little bit more profound in a sense from a philosophical point of view. But then the Chan is how it's pronounced with the same letter, Son in Korea, and then it was pronounced Zen in Japan. Let's see. Well, Zen, you can definitely say it's a type of that's a meditation practice. It's concentration, and that is absolutely right. But then Zen has been taken in, let's say, in the Soto Zen Buddhism. It's has sort of stopped to become means to attain awakening or deep realization or enlightenment, so-called, in Buddhism. And the Soto Zen practice, it has become that Zen, or the practice itself, is the embodiment of realization. And the practicing itself is the path itself, is the, there it is, where is the ultimate thing that we are looking for. So in a sense, we're not looking for anything. We practice Zen. Well, I guess I like the expression to embody or to live the teaching, to live the teaching. Zen was, so I think for this reason, Zen is often seen or explained as a way of life. Everything we do, not just the meditation, the way we walk, we do dishes, or we clean a room, we drive our cars, we greet each other, every moment we are embodying that wisdom, the realization. And yet, we always feel like we're just a deluded bunch. That's how I always feel, deluded. Because there's always a thoughts. And I think the most common question people ask is when you do Zazen, everything, you can quiet the environment, you can clean up the environment, you can quiet the surroundings, and you may have a perfectly ideal setting.
Right.
Yet when you start sitting, and there's just always noise and thoughts that starts to come in or come out from inside if it's quiet. And people would think, oh, I'm not doing the Zazen the right way.
You're not living in a very Zen way. If it's
not really
so
Zen.
loud.
Yeah. And it's true that there is this sort of state called samadhi, where there's a perfect concentration, calmness, and that's a beautiful thing if you can get there. And then just sometimes, like, I feel like I'm getting close, but then there's sometimes this commercial song that pops up in my head, and it's like, oh right, that's a karma, because that was something I seen a while ago.
Yeah.
Right. But then if you get caught with this idea of calmness, tranquility, that's also not quite the way we practice, at least in Soto Zen, because we, how would I say it? This thought, it's like the branches always constantly be blown by the wind. This thought, ideas, notions, languages, are the products of causality. We're exemplifying that causality. And then that's why I think it's important to sit Zazen. It's a very subtle cause, seed of cause, and yet that has a subtle alteration. It's sort of a, what I say, 1 minute of Zazen is a 1 minute of Buddha. That's right, being the Buddha. I'm just trying to put this back together. So along with these streams of thoughts and consciousness, we are still tapping into the realm of what we don't recognize usually, what we don't maybe acknowledge. And that can be a peaceful experience, but it's just as much as peaceful, it can be revealing, maybe sometimes
Right.
that uncomfortable
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, because that seems to be the cultural perspective is, when you say, you're zen, you're calm, you're, as you were saying before, sitting by the river and just, in a tranquility, whereas that's not always the case.
That's not always the case. I think it's the same with having, let's say, your partner, having your children. You have this idealistic image, this, we're loving people, and then yes, but then also that effort itself, maybe stronger your aspiration is, it also reveals your own shortcomings, weakness, imperfections, and that's also not a process, but that itself is the entryway. That itself is a sign of wisdom that we have to go through, or we have to live with, sit in. That's how parents mature. That's how partnership matures. That's how anything mature.
Right.
That way, I think we cherish, emphasize as important. It's an important thing in Zen practice. Now, having said all of that, I think we say it's like realizing that we are in the water. I use that expression, like we're the fish and we realize we're in the water, but more like we're the water and we realize that everything else is also in the water. So there is no differentiation, distinction, and then we're constantly living in this infinite influx of causalities, right? Yet, if we kind of allow ourselves be steeped in this change of thoughts, that's philosophy. That's the world of notion, and Zen allows us to be in touch with something that is before the notion, before the language. Yet we are the creature who uses its brains, always constantly dwelling in the notion and languages. Zazen or Zen practice or Zen is what is, and it is inconceivable. It's beyond perception, and this is something we're trying to realize with fully, let's see, utilizing our perceptions and notions, and that's the greatest contradictions. And that's like the entire history of Zen. So we are living right through this immense contradiction of Zen, which I think is the nature of human itself. So